Before we talk about this game, I want to just extend congratulations to Jim Boylen and Team USA, who tonight, by beating Uruguay 88-77, officially qualified the United States for the World Cup. And it's been a long, arduous task. They've been working these USA windows with players from everything from G League to guys that are European, guys that may not have been playing at certain points in time, et cetera, et cetera. But Jim has been is one of our consultants this year, coaching consultant. He's done a great job for us, and that has been a monumental task to do that. So, congratulations to him. And as far as this game goes, I mean, I just love the fight that our guys brought to the game. You know, they never went away, stayed into it. We weren't perfect. Rebounding continues to be a challenge, but the level of battle and the level of fight was tremendous. And you know, closing out games like this against, you know, the top teams on the planet comes down to details, blockouts, loose balls, you know, very thin margins, avoiding fouling shooters, a lot of the things you saw down the stretch.
You talk about this one being a battle and these kind of chippier, more physical games. What is the key to kind of separating yourself in a game like that?
Well, you know, the entire second half in timeouts, I during almost every timeout, talked to the team about, you know, defining plays in this game are going to be physical plays. They're going to be loose ball plays. They're going to be hustle plays. They're going to be charges, stuff like that. We made a lot of loose ball plays. And, you know, Boston's a tough team to play because of their size, strength. They switch extremely well. They junk up the matchups to put you in some quandaries. So, you know, our guys needed to play basketball. And you know, very quickly get a feel for what the game was going to be about. And, you know, we were down at halftime, but came out with a big run to start the third and put ourselves in position.
This game had 22 lead changes, several in the fourth quarter and overtime. What did you kind of see as the difference that got Boston over the hump in the end?
Well, they kept getting to the free throw line. And I don't want to talk about, you know, free throw disparity, whatever, and whistles. You know, I just we got to foul a little less. I mean, their superstars put a lot of pressure on you, and they were effective getting the whistle to blow. You know, the rebounding, I mean, down the stretch of the fourth, second chances were a big thing, were a big issue. I mean, 20 offensive rebounds, that's an area where we've got to do better.
Miles ends up with 48 threes, I think is a career high for him. What did you see from him that was key, and how important was he to you guys tonight?
He just played a great game, you know. Yeah, he was amazingly efficient offensively. Game like this, if you're going to beat Boston, you know, your big's got to be hitting shots. You know, Miles hit 8 threes and Daniel hit 1. And he did damage on the inside too. So, and you know, I mean, it's just tough. It's a tough team to play. I mean, they got a lot of attackers. I mean, they got Malcolm out there. They got Smart. They got, you know, Brown and Tatum. All these guys put tremendous vertical pressure on your defense, and in many instances, we really did some good things to hold our own. But, you know, fouling shooters was a problem tonight. That's something we need to look to correct. And, you know, it's essentially, this is a playoff game. I mean, that's the atmosphere. That's the level of competition. And this is great experience for our guys, even though we didn't win the game.
Obviously, you mentioned fouling shooters a couple times. I guess without getting into what should or should not have been called, I mean, what is it that you want to see your guys do differently, I guess, in some of those positions? I think, obviously, you saw some hands on hips and whatnot. I mean, how do you want to see guys, be maybe more disciplined with closeouts?
You got to contest to the side and avoid contact. You just got to keep your hands off guys. And, the three-point shot has become so prolific, and guys are now shooting it from 35, 40 feet, that oftentimes as they shoot, your momentum is moving toward them as you close out, and so it's become harder and harder to contest without making contact. And so it's just something that we've got to continue to work on. In the Western Conference for, however many years James Harden was with Houston, I mean, he was the best one-on-one player on the planet during that period of time, and figuring out ways to contest his shots without fouling was really difficult. So, but now there's just a bunch of guys that cause that same problem, and so we'll look at these examples. We'll play Orlando. They got guys that can do the same thing.
Just, you talked about closing games. What do you like, not like, I guess, about the offensive possessions down the stretch in regulation and in overtime?
Yeah, I've got to do a better job of creating better situations for Ty. He and I talked about it before he came in. We're going to look closely at it. Sometimes the best thing to do is just get out of his way. You try to manipulate the possession so much by bringing up a guy to get a switch and stuff like this, and before you know it, you're up against the clock and there's a crowd. He made a brilliant play at the end of the Miami game that he basically made an eye fake and three guys leaned the other way and he pulled back left and shot it. Tonight he ended up going to his right, kind of into a crowd. I give him credit for getting the ball on the rim and giving it a chance, but we'll look at that. And I'll work at helping our team in those situations.
Kind of to that last point, is it deciding whether you want to bring someone or just let them create one-on-one? Is that kind of what will be that next discussion?
I don't want to get too much into strategy here. I mean, I know that Fieldhouse Files has a prolific following. I just want to be careful about sharing too much with the world. But I mean, you're watching it. You know the game. I mean, it's some of that. And look, I really have trust in Tyrese and the guys that are out there. Calling timeouts in those situations is tough because they can get even better defenders out there and set their defense. I'd rather have our best player out there, maneuvering and directing traffic. But we've got to have a couple of different options that are ways we can go.
And then back to your opening comments about Jim, what led you to bring him in here, and in what ways can you share that you've tried to utilize him this year?
Yeah, he's a guy that I have great respect for. He loves the game. He works at the game. He's been part of staffs. He's been a head coach on 2 Chicago teams that were top defensive teams. He was with 3 others that were championship teams. So he brings a different perspective, and he's been terrific for us. And I just think the work that he's done with USA Basketball has been phenomenal. It's been a great service to, our country, and just in terms of, our international play. I mean, you can't get to the Olympics until you qualify for the World Cup, and then I believe the way it works is that, our bigger team, presumably of NBA players, is going to have to be top 2 in our region, to then move on to the Olympics. It's not automatic anymore. If you win the gold medal, you don't automatically qualify for the Olympics, I don't believe, unless you're the home country. I think that's the only way you do. So he's done tremendous work there. The guys that have played, I know that Langston Galloway's a guy that's played in 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 of the windows. He's been a workhorse during this whole thing, and these guys deserve a debt of gratitude, for what they've done.